Hello, everyone. I'm Carly, and licking toads?
And I'm Sam, and no milk for me, thank you. Actually, I'm lactose intolerant.
And welcome to Read Receipts with Carly and Sam, our brand new book-based podcast covering all the latest hits and some stories off the beaten path.
With a few fun and exclusive episodes mixed in between.
And today we are going to the world of Panem and regretting every time we thirsted over Tom Blythe's snow by digging into, why do I always grab this book weird? Sunrise on the Reaping. Guys, if you're here, you already know. We're in for it.
There's a lot to dive into here. But before we get into the world of propaganda and insurrection, we have to remind you that we are going to be diving into some pretty complicated plot points, some complicated character histories. So as always, please make sure to be careful as you're listening if you haven't read the book yet and still want to, that there will be spoilers ahead. You have been warned.
I think because Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes wasn't very popular when it came out, I didn't have very high expectations for this book. So, no, I didn't even read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes until a few months ago, leading up to reading this book. And I think that this book is the book of the year for me. I was so obsessed with it. I don't think I'm going to forget about it. I don't know if it's because of those sort of lower expectations that I had going into this book that contributed to it, but I'm so excited to talk about it today.
I was very excited to start the book. To be honest, I haven't been as invested in the world of Hunger Games since I was, I don't even know, in like high school when I read the original trilogy. But as you all know, because obviously you've all listened to all of our episodes up until this point, in episode 2, I am a big Haymitch stan.
Yes.
So
our Hear Me Outs have made an appearance.
Here they are.
Yeah.
Knowing that this was going to be Haymitch's book, I was very invested from the beginning. Before we get into our book review, we'll do a book summary for those of you who, for some reason, haven't been as caught up into the world of Hunger Games, or maybe you've just forgotten you need a little bit of a reintroduction. We'll do the back of the book summary for you, remind you of all the characters, then we'll get back into talking about how much we love this book.
Yes. So to give you guys the back of the book summary, when you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Haymitch Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Haymitch's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love and shuttled to the capital with the 3 other District 12 tributes. A young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive oddsmaker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Haymitch understands he's been set up to fail. But there's something in him that wants to fight, and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena.
Exciting!
Exciting and scary!
Okay, so our cast of characters is very ensemble. We've got a lot of characters here at play. Haymitch, obviously. Lenore Dove, who we know is Haymitch's girl. Maisie, the most stuck-up girl in town. Wyatt, the odds maker. Luella and her capital counterpart Lulu. Ampert. Plutarch. Snow. Mags, the return of our beloved.
My girl!
Wyrus, who we also recognize from previous books, and Beatty as well. Yeah. So those are some of our main characters. Obviously, there are a couple of others kind of in play here and there, but these are the characters that we're probably going to touch on the most in this episode.
Right.
Let's talk about the book. Okay, overall, what'd you rate it?
I rated it 5 stars.
Okay.
Easy. So easy. It's just so brilliant for so many reasons.
Yeah.
First of all, I think what is so fun about this book, the fact that Suzanne Collins wrote this book about implicit submission with the only other victor that we actually know the full story of his games, how he won.
Sure.
Because Katniss, we get a lot of, in the original Hunger Games, we got a little bit of here and there of like how certain people won their games. But we only saw from her perspective one game of like what the Capitol had recorded and saw her watch it back, and that was of Haymitch's. So it is so interesting the whole propaganda aspect of it, the fact that we all came into this book being like, well, we actually know what happens. Like, it was in the Hunger Games. We saw him catching fire.
Yeah.
But she so turns it on its head and is like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You know what they told you, but you don't know what happened. I also think that, in general, the themes in this book are so powerful, and I think that really where this book takes place in time and having these characters makes that impact so much stronger, to have these characters that we thought we had an idea of what they were like based on, especially the original Hunger Games trilogy.
Sure.
And knowing just how tragic the backstory is for these characters and how they ended up where they were and all that sort of stuff. Like, even Hamish, I think it's kind of understandable that you can assume that he's probably an alcoholic for a reason. But it's so much deeper than just he suffered through the games. Like, he suffered through so much more than that. That was incredible. And I know that a lot of people find the message of the book a little depressing because there is a bit of a feeling of what's the point in trying to rebel if it might not make a difference. That's kind of how Hamish feels by the end of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think what Plutarch says by the end of it, it might take years, it might not even be our generation that sees the benefit of this action, but that doesn't make it not worth doing.
Right.
And personally, I find that really inspiring.
Yeah.
Because I think it really is easy to think to yourself, like, what is the point to all this? And it's so crazy thinking back to the Hunger Games and how it felt like Katniss was the first person to rebel. Yeah. And no, it wasn't just her. This was years and years in the making.
Right, for sure.
And it just kind of worked out that she was the right person at the right time to sort of be the catalyst for this strong action. I thought that was really inspiring despite all the sad stuff that happens by the end. And I love cameos. I was so excited seeing every single person being like, that's that person's dad. All my favorite Marvel movies are like the Avenger movies, so it's perfect. Yeah. I was just, every time someone came out, like, yes, give me more, give me more.
That was really fun, getting to see all of the characters that we already kind of like know and love, like seeing them appear in this book in like different ways was really fun. I also really like, you know, what you say about the little actions that we take here have like ripple effects for things to come. Right. And you definitely see a lot of that with like Hamish's story and like how much he tries to rebel and how every little rebellion builds up to what we eventually see as Katniss's rebellion, you know, and the rebellion that really does like kind of work, I guess, catch fire and like work for everybody.
The symbolism that she is the girl on fire and he had the fire starter.
That's a good point.
Like, he is truly like the stepping stone, the beginning of what ends up becoming Katniss.
100%, yeah. And a big part of like why I really like not just this book but also this series as a whole is because there is a lot of stuff like that can be applied to like real world actions, like the things that we do here. So I mean, it's the same idea of like, you know, you don't reap what you sow the same day that you sow it, right? Like when you plant something, you have to be patient and kind of wait until it sprouts or whatever. And I think like a lot of that stuff can be applied to the things like that we do in our everyday lives. So I really like that how that plays out, I guess, in this book and the series as well.
Every time that Hamish was engaging in implicit submission, I was like, same. I would immediately be operating under that same mentality.
Yeah, the same mentality of like, well, it's not going to do anything right now, you know?
Right. So I really thought Suzanne Collins did such a good job of holding a mirror to yourself and being like, why are you upholding these standards? Yes. You don't have to.
Yes.
So.
For sure. Yeah. And also though, like with what you were saying, like understanding like why he's doing it, you know, and sometimes it's just easier to roll over. And like there were certain situations in this book, obviously, where I was like, I mean, it is easier to just like not fight, you know, especially when it's so hard to fight. Like, it's so hard to give so much of your time and your energy to this, knowing that it's not going to make a difference right now. And just, like, hoping that it will in the future is really hard. Like, when you don't see that happening is really hard. Yeah. So it definitely is difficult, and I think she did, like what you were saying, did a really good job portraying that in this book. Yeah. Overall, I also really enjoyed this book, and I never do this, like, ever, with books or shows or movies, but I also gave it 5 stars. Oh my God. It was really good. Suzanne, it was really good.
You did it, girl.
I I
She
almost
earned
was
it.
like, at first I gave it a 4.5 because I was like, oh, like, I don't know. But then when I was trying to think of what I didn't like about it, I was like, overall, really liked it. Like, there really wasn't anything that I didn't like.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
It was very good.
Let's start off by just talking about our main guy, main character of
Our
the story.
main man.
Hey, bitch, Abernathy.
Hey, Mitch, do you have anything to say to the crowd?
I really love Lenore Dove. I am a sip for Lenore Dove. And I love that about him.
He really is, though.
He really is.
Hardcore.
It was really adorable just how into her that she was.
Yeah. He was so, very, very, like, in love with her. And then also, like, at the end when he was like, geese mate for life, so do we.
Haymitch in general, at the beginning of the book, it still felt like him, you know? It still had his voice, his kind of silliness and stuff like that. But, he, you know, he's such a sweet and innocent boy.
Yeah, he's so,
And it's really heartbreaking to think of everything he ends up going through.
And the way that I mean, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but, like, the way he loves Lenore Dove is very, like, open, you know? And he's like, yes, I love her. And we know him in the Hunger Games as being very closed off, like, in the original trilogy. And, not very open to love and, like, not very open to caring about people. So it is very interesting to see how that changes. And, of course, like, understanding over the course of the book how that might change.
Yeah,
you know?
it is pretty surprising to see that. I agree.
And it might just be because I haven't really been invested in the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. I never read it, never watched the movie. So, like, that's a missing piece for me in the universe. But there's also still a lot about her that's, like, very mysterious.
Yes.
And very, like...
And that is a
you
Covey
know?
girl trait. That's how Lucy Gray was, too. She is very mysterious. I feel like we should watch the movie together. I love that she really did feel reminiscent of Lucy Gray, and I saw those little sparks. And I loved how she was challenging Haymitch. You know, she was kind of the first one to sort of point out those things about his implicit submission. And it makes sense that it would be this character specifically because they have their songs and their stories. At some point, Plutarch and Haymitch kind of bond over the fact that they both know the story that the Coveys sing as a song, but he knows it from, like, an actual book. And so it just shows that, and apparently a lot of people in the capital and in the districts as a whole don't read.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Plutarch, who is part of the rebellion from the capital side of things, does read and has this mindset, and the only other people that seem to know these stories are the Covey, makes for a very interesting connection that also sending a message that books and these stories do play
100%.
an important
Books
part.
are so powerful. Like, just in general, you know? Reading is so powerful.
Really, this book has convinced me in so many ways. I'm like, this is an act of rebellion, me reading. Finally, my romance matters, okay?
I feel like we have to talk about the whole reaping as a
yes.
as a whole.
Yeah, because, again, this is a part that we saw from Katniss's POV. And so when the chapter ends, and it's not Haymitch's name, it's like, what?
Yeah, but then it's also interesting at the end of the book, you see, or even in the beginning when they have to, like, refilm it or whatever, like, reshoot it. Like, you know that they're reshooting it. And then at the end, when, like, you get to watch it back, you see how they've reshot it and, like, how it does look like, oh, hey, Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
So.
And it is kind of crazy to, like, realize that, oh, he wasn't even reaped.
No.
You know?
It adds to that hopeless feeling that I'm sure they all have. That, you know, if they step out of line, it might not be
like
a random draw.
Yeah.
It might be you because they didn't like you.
Yeah. And pour all of our other tributes.
Yeah. Okay, who do we want to talk about first?
Okay, let's start with Wyatt. Because I feel like Wyatt is, of the four, maybe the easiest to forget.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he doesn't talk much in the very beginning. He's very, like, mysterious, brooding. And as we know, I like him that way.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You get it. No, but I think he's very easily forgotten because he dies first, right? Very quickly. But then when we get a little bit more information on how he dies protecting Lulu.
And as the odds baker, it's like he knew from the get-go. She has no shot. Easily.
Exactly. And protected her anyway.
Yeah. And I really liked Wyatt's character, honestly, because he gets so cast to the side quickly because of his family. People can't always help exactly what profession that they're in, and even though, yes, they are kind of exploiting this system that people don't like, and they don't like the idea of betting on children, at the end of the day, also, what else are they supposed to do to survive.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked seeing the humanity in Wyatt.
Agreed.
And also oh my gosh, I forget too that by the end of the book, we find out that his dad also killed himself.
Yeah.
As a result of Wyatt dying. Further showing, everyone just looking at the Callows is like, we don't like them, they suck, they're heartless.
Right.
But
yes.
clearly they do care.
Right.
So
yeah, 100%.
I like that perspective that we got from Wyatt.
I agree. Yeah. I liked that we got like a little bit of personality from him versus just what everyone else thinks about him and his family. Like we know, he's very smart and he's like talented.
Yeah.
And we also know, with everything that happened with him in the games that he's like loyal and protective, and there's a lot to like about him. And I wish if I had like a critique of the book that we had gotten the chance to dive into that a little bit more, because I really do think on the page he's a very good character. Like I would have loved more of him.
You know who really had a fiery side to her? Maisie Donner.
Maisie Donner.
Boy,
the
oh
most
boy.
stuck-up girl in town.
That's my girl, though.
We need another little, like, Maisie.
Yeah, we need...
right here.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Even from the get-go, I was just like, I know I'm going to love this girl. Yeah. I don't even care that she's mean.
Yes. No, I definitely, because, with the summary and, like, everything Haymitch has to say about her, I was like, oh, we don't like this girl. Like, she's super stuck up. She doesn't care about anyone. But even from the get-go in the train, she, like, stands up to Drusilla. She slaps her.
Yes.
Like, she stands up for Luella, even, and the rest of the tributes. Like, she's got a lot of fight in her, but it's very honorable.
Yes.
Like, it's not like she's not being mean to just be mean. Like, she's got a lot to say, and she's gonna say it, damn it.
I really think, too, she is a good example of someone who is aware that she has a certain amount of privilege.
Yes.
And really tries to use that to her, not to her advantage in a, like, against people way, but, like, is trying to work the system. Like, she has a little bit more... She knows a little bit more about, like, the classiness stuff. And, she's shitting on everyone's outfits because she has a little bit more knowledge of, like, fashion and stuff like that because she can afford to care about that stuff.
Yeah.
And so she is going to kind of use that to sort of protect her little group.
Yes.
And I love that. I
do, too.
I think that she was really smart and cool.
Yeah.
And it makes me so sad that she died.
I know. I like that you bring that up because I also think it's similar to Wyatt, like us having these preconceived notions of him and his family and him kind of proving us wrong. And similarly with Maisie, like us thinking that she's the most stuck-up girl in town.
Yeah, she has everything she could possibly want. She's in the merchant
she's so
class.
Privileged. Yeah, it's fine. Like she gets to live like in the town, right? It's like the seam versus like the
actual town people.
Actual townspeople. Yeah, so she like has a lot of privilege. Like there's no possible way that she could relate to Haymitch or our other characters from the seam at all. But you can tell she knows. She's very
still
intelligent.
Lives in the same government as them.
She gets it.
She understands that not just because she has that little bit of power by being a townspeople person, that doesn't mean that she is different from them. I think that is kind of a thing that the government will use to sow division.
Sure.
To make you believe, like, oh, you're in an upper class.
You're in that class.
You're closer
They're in that
to
class.
us.
Yes,
you're closer to the capital people.
But she understands that she's not. Like, she understands that they still look down on her.
Yeah.
And that they still see her as trash, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So my tabs, I had purple for characters, I had yellow for themes about implicit submission, and then I brought out the green for sick burns, basically. And Maisie was the main reason for using that color.
Sure.
My favorite lines, both to Drusilla, are,
of course,
careful, might be time to rethink those boots. Wouldn't something closer to the ground be safer for a person your age? K.O. She just murders her there. And then, you're not a game maker. You're not even a stylist. You're nothing but a low-rent escort hanging on by your fingernails to the trashiest district in Panem.
Oh my gosh.
She is ruthless, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
She's District 12's Struffalo, basically. Do we want to go ahead and talk a little bit about our capital people, Plutarch and Drusilla?
Sure.
Plutarch was the most surprising person to
was
come back for me.
Surprising for me as well.
It makes a lot of sense in retrospect, but I just was like, even Plutarch is here? Man, what a ballsy guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is saying stuff about the Capitol right in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are in the room, and he's like, why didn't you fight them? Why didn't you fight this? I almost called them stormtroopers.
Why didn't you fight the stormtroopers?
Why did you fight the stormtroopers,
Whoa.
Hamish? What are
Universe
they called?
collab. Peacekeepers.
Peacekeepers. Same thing. They're both in
Why
white.
didn't you fight the
Have
stormtroopers?
you look at those peacekeepers? Those are stormtroopers. I think it's canon.
Oh my god.
The Star Wars trilogy comes after. Trilogy, I don't know what it's called. Star Wars universe.
There is a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
The original trilogy.
Right, there's like 8 movies now.
But, of course, it did come first, so...
But in time?
Probably still came first.
Really? Wow, okay. Interesting. So maybe they landed. Back to
Oh, yeah, sorry. Back to...
Plutarch. It's kind of good that they point out, like, he's not the best guy. Like, he's making them act for their time and stuff like that. But also, I personally saw it more as, like, someone who is a more strategically minded person. I just saw it as he is using his tools to try and benefit them and benefit the cause, basically. Mm-hmm. And I think by nature of the fact that he is on that propaganda side, it is going to come off sounding not great. And also, he is, I guess there is a little bit of a situation there where he has privilege, he has capital, but I thought he was so instrumental in kind of shedding light on things for them, even beyond just the whole implicit submission thing. I thought he was a really great mentor to Haymitch on this sort of thing.
I did enjoy his character. I think there's a lot to unpack with his character, with like what you were saying, you know, how everyone kind of looks at him as the bad guy, because in their eyes he is, you know, he's capital and he still does things for Snow and for the Capitol and all this propaganda. And I agree with what you're saying that, you know, because we have kind of a broader view of it, we get the full picture. We understand that he's doing it for the greater good. Like he is, you know, fighting the fight in whatever little way he can, using the tools and the resources at his disposal. But if you can imagine what that must look like from Haymitch's perspective or from someone else's perspective, it definitely looks like, why aren't you doing more?
Yeah.
You know, you have more tools, you have more resources.
You're in the system and you're still kind of...
And you're still playing it safe. Like you could, you know, I'm the one that's like blowing stuff up and like putting my face out on here, and you have more safety than I do. You have more privilege than I do. Why aren't you doing more?
Yeah. And I think he even says too something about, don't let us make propaganda out of you. The Hunger Games are our biggest form of propaganda. Yeah. Make it hard for us. And it is a little frustrating because it's like, well, you're the one editing.
Yes.
Why don't you just make it bad propaganda?
Right.
Knowing the greater scheme of things, I understand that it's important for Plutarch to continue to stay under the radar so he can work his way up to be the game maker.
Double-edged sword, you know, because there is only so much that he can do while retaining the privilege that he has. Because obviously he can't go blowing up water tanks or else, you know, bye-bye Plutarch.
Right. He has too good of an advantage being in the Capitol to risk that.
Exactly. So, but it's hard to understand when you're someone like Haymitch and you're 16 years old and you're, you know, you're about to die. You're about to die and you want to make this lasting statement of rebellion. You want to paint this poster, and someone like Plutarch could do a lot of good to help you do that, and he's just not doing it from your perspective as Haymitch, you know? It's very lose-lose really for everyone involved, which again, like contributes to the powerful messaging of this book, you know? So now that we've talked a little bit about like pre-Hunger Games, pre-Quarter Quell, I think we need to obviously dive into like what happens when they actually get to the Capitol, start preparing for the games, and then ultimately end up in the games. Right. Snow is obviously a big player when it comes to like talking about the Capitol and like important figures in the Capitol.
He is the Capitol.
He is the Capitol. So like how did we feel about Snow's portrayal in the Capitol, and like also how it reflects to like the previous books?
I definitely felt like Snow was much harsher in this version. I think the thing that really sold to me that Snow is sick and disgusting as a person is Lulu.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was beyond shocked when they're in Plutarch's house together.
Yeah.
And they bring in Lulu. And I at first thought it was a robot. And I was like, well, that's fucked up that you're gonna that you're just gonna cover your tracks with this.
Sure.
But so much worse to find out that it's an actual child.
Like a person. Yeah.
Yeah, that they've just kind of morphed a little bit to look like her.
Yes, like when you think about the steps that it took to get her to be this person that Snow in the Capitol wanted her to be, like they had to obviously maybe find someone similar looking enough or like transform a child, which honestly I wouldn't put past the Capitol to like
I mean, they do the stuff with the mutts, so
exactly,
it's totally in the
like
realm.
change her to become like Luella or look enough like Luella to be able to pass as Luella. And then also to like mess with her brain so much. She's still being tortured. Like
actively.
Yeah, actively as the book is going on. So there are so many layers to how cruel this is that it never ends. Like up until the moment Lulu dies, it's still like ongoing.
Another part that I found really interesting about the Snow interaction while we're talking about this moment with him and Haymitch, whenever he talks to Haymitch about, oh, you have a love at home? Let me guess.
Yes.
They know the second name's always a color. Let me think what D could stand for. Oh my God, he was so rewriting history too with like she's delightful to look at, swishes around in bright colors and sings like a mockingjay. You love her, and oh, how she seems to love you, except sometimes you wonder because her plans don't include you at all. And it's like technically you could interpret that as true from both Lenore and Lucy Gray, but it's also wrong because it's like, Lucy Gray stopped including you in her plans and also saw that you were an evil person and was like, shit, I need to get out.
Yeah.
It's so manipulative.
Well, it's interesting how he plays himself as a victim in this situation, you know?
Yes. He acts, and that is the most insane thing.
Yeah.
Because
and then how he uses it to manipulate Haymitch in this situation where Haymitch thinks, man, like, there is a lot that I don't know about Lenore Dove. Like, there is a lot that, like, she does without me.
Like, there is technically language where he isn't, or she isn't including me. And it's like, yeah, but, like, I think Lenore truly does care for you. I think this is minutia. That is not how she actually feels about you. He is just...
But the way that he's able to manipulate that in him...
Which is exactly how he got to where he was. He is really good with his words.
Of course, yeah.
Snow's bad. He's real bad.
Yeah. But you know who's great?
Who?
Our girl Mags. Anything to say, Mags? Mags and Wyrus making a comeback. How did we feel about this?
Oh my God.
How did you feel about this with Mags being back in the picture?
So I was beyond excited. She really delivered on what I expected her to be.
Yeah.
She was so kind and motherly. I honestly really liked Wyrus and getting to know more about Wyrus. I really loved the beginning line of when Haymitch starts talking about her. He says something about, like, everyone in her arena went nuts, but not her.
Yeah.
And that literally killed me, knowing that later on she gets nicknamed Nuts and Bolts with Beatty, and they all make fun of her for being crazy.
I know.
And then you find out by the end of the book that, oh, it's because they tortured her and messed with her mind that she's even like this. Like, she was a perfectly well-spoken, and, like, she clearly was smart even by the end. She figured out the whole arena situation.
Yeah.
And it's also really cool to get that information that she won by figuring out her arena.
Because that's how we see her.
Yes, it's like that's her thing.
See her,
Yeah, she's good at, like, the pattern recognition and seeing all these elements. And so I really liked her, and I really liked the way she coached. I
agree.
Like, I really liked getting to know Wyrus better. I also still, again, Mags was great.
Yeah.
I also really
loved Mags.
Yeah.
Loved her action. And yeah, again, like you said, like, she doesn't talk in Catching Fire, obviously, you know, due to everything that's happened post book. But it was interesting to read about a Mags that does have, like, opinions and gets to say things, and how she treats, like, the District 12 tributes.
Yes, because also the first thing she says, like, she sees Haymitch and goes, Haymitch, I'm so sorry about Luella, and then just, like, immediately hugs him, and, like, is just, she's that perfect amount of support that you need in that moment.
Yeah.
And the most amount of kindness that easily he's received since being reaped.
Yeah. She's very sweet, very protective, very kind. Also, you can tell, though, that she is, like, smart as well.
Yes.
Like, the way she mentors the tributes and asks them what they want, you know? And at first, like, admits to thinking, like, of course you want to live, but, like, that kind of looks differently for everybody. Like, everybody kind of wants to leave a name for themselves in a different way, or like be portrayed in a different way.
Yeah.
So like, what is it that you want? Because we talked about Mags and Wires, I feel like we also need to talk about BT and Ampert.
Yes. Oh my God. What did you think when we first met Ampert? Because obviously when we first met him, we didn't know that he was going to be BT's son.
Yes. I thought he was very bold for like a 12-year-old kid.
Yes. To
And I
have
think
such a solid strategy.
Haymitch even mentioned, I think, that he was like young, like looked like a boy, like young kid.
Yeah.
Going up to him and being like, hey, alliance, you know, like pretty.
And he was like, I already got this district and this district. Like,
Yeah, like very like working the crowd, you know, like I really thought this kid has got some guts. Like he's got,
Yes.
for being so young, and like we see, not that like Luella is meek, but like she clearly has a lot of potential. And of course we don't get to know that much about her because she dies so early on. But Ampert is bold in like a completely different way.
And I think it's because he clearly has his father's brain.
It is very clear that Ampert is BT's son. Like when we find out later on the relation, like it didn't surprise me too much when I like connected the dots, I guess, when that is revealed in the story. But separate from that, I do think Ampert more extroverted. Like he has a lot more like social ability. Not that BT's like, I don't know, awkward or anything, but Ampert clearly, like, he not only knows what he wants and has a plan for what he wants, but he will make it happen. You know, he's very clearly like, I'm going to be proactive about this.
Especially when you get to the Caesar Flickerman interviews.
Yeah.
And the way that Caesar seems to be taking on the careers as a joke a bit. Like he kind of laughs in their faces. But then when the newcomers come on, he really like respects them and like is very intrigued by them. And so it really made me feel like, oh wow, this must be very serious and like a real potential that these newcomers can do some damage if they're willing to show with Caesar Flickerman that like we're going to take them seriously and this is who we're looking at.
Yeah.
Which again is even more impressive that this was all run by a 12-year-old.
And even though with like what you were saying, we know how it ends, I felt so much hope. I mean, obviously misguided and misplaced, but like as I was reading, I was like, I really wish it could end differently. And it almost like, you almost think it will. Like the way that it portrays in the book as you're reading it, you almost think that he has a chance.
Because also the numbers do make a lot of sense. It does feel like they have good odds. Not to use that word. Situation, but loved Ampert. Felt so bad for Beatty though.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you maybe kind of talked about it a little earlier about how like Snow knew how to punish Haymitch, not by killing Haymitch, but by destroying everything that he loves and everyone that he loves. I mean, he did the same thing with BT, right? He knew it would make a much bigger impact on BT's life if he killed his son.
Yes, exactly. Which I think ultimately, you know, Snow's getting a little bit cocky here. And clearly that was not the best plan for BT, because from what we see in Catching Fire, he clearly stayed focused to eventually come up with a plan to break the arena.
Yes.
So
it only drove him more, I think.
Beatty was one of the characters that I felt like getting his backstory and seeing the side of him was so impactful.
Agreed. Ampert really won me over when he was like forming this alliance with the newcomers and like talking to Haymitch about getting this newcomer alliance up and running. I really felt for him and I really felt for the character and really loved the character, and then immediately got upset because I knew he wasn't gonna make it. Like, I was like, clearly he's gonna die, but
it's like, why am I getting attached?
I know. I was like, I need to not love this kid. Like, I can't.
In the Capitol is also where we finally get to see Effie.
Yes. Love Effie.
I loved seeing her, but it was at first a bit of a harsh reality and reminder that in the movies we get to see Effie in District 13, but in the books she never made it there. And I felt a little bit like whenever they introduce her and she talks about how it is their duty to do the best for the games and blah blah blah, like their ancestors died for this. I was like, oh god. But I think she is such a good character in showing that you can be someone who has a truly good heart and is a good person, but be just so incredibly misguided and be so, you know, so much propaganda thrown down your throat that you don't know the truth.
I mean, being a capital citizen is all she's ever known.
Yeah, she's so indoctrinated.
Yes,
that is hard to
move from. But yeah, you can tell that she has a good heart, that she's a good person, and I think we touched on it earlier, even kind to District 12, like all of the tributes, you know, she's not a Drusilla, like she's being very nice to them and being very conversational, and obviously she does in a way think that she's doing them a favor, but isn't snobbish about it. She isn't like
she really
superior about it.
And also, even though it initially starts out as she wants to help her sister, she also makes a point to be like, they all deserve to be seen in their best, the way that everyone else does.
The way that everyone else
she really has good morals about it.
Yes, 100%.
The best that you can in this situation, I guess.
Right, 100%. So what about the games?
Oh, the games.
Oh, the games.
So I feel like in the games, Hamish's mind was really most focused on this water tank plan.
For sure, after his whole conversation with BT and like blowing up the arena or whatever.
Yeah, which I think was kind of good for him to stay focused on something.
I think it was good for him to have a purpose.
Right, exactly. Honestly, this whole time, because of the fact that we see in Catching Fire how his games happen, I was not expecting this to actually work. I mean, obviously it didn't exactly work because they kind of recover quickly.
Sure.
But I just didn't think they were even going to get there. When they did actually successfully hit the water tank, I was like, oh, now what?
Yeah. I really thought that we were going to have another Catching Fire moment where, I mean, I feel like I've made so many references to Sunrise on the Reaping and Catching Fire, like kind of like connecting.
There's a lot of parallels.
The two books, but there are a lot of parallels. And I really thought that we were going to have another moment where they were getting like rescued from the arena and the arena was going to break down. And at first I was a little bit upset about that, but only because, not because I didn't like Catching Fire, but mainly because I didn't want another Catching Fire.
Right, it's like we already did this.
Yes.
Which I do think, again, this is another situation where it's a reason why these little acts of rebellion, even though for Hamish's sake, I wish that they did go this extra step, but I think this needed to happen because I think a big flaw in this plan was what happens once you hit the water tank. Mm-hmm. If they had just come up with a plan after, maybe they could have done something with that time that the arena was down. Because it was maybe like a few minutes, I think.
Yeah.
If they had a helicopter secured or something that they could have actually taken people out.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think there was enough thought after. Which, granted, it does seem like maybe this plan came about very quickly. I don't know if this plan would have happened without Hamish necessarily offering. I mean, I guess Ampert maybe was going to always do this plan, but I don't know. I just don't know if it really would have happened exactly this way without him.
Sure.
So it's unfortunate that if they had thought that through this time around, maybe they could have been more successful in making a statement.
Yeah.
But also, I think this was very helpful and informative for the next Quarter Quell when they try this again.
Sure. It is, I mean, yeah, like what you said in the beginning, like it is making those little acts of rebellion, learning from them, seeing how we can fix these things that we're doing to make them better later on, and like continuing to do what we can to make the statement that we can.
Right.
And then obviously we know how Maisley dies. R.I.P. Maisley.
Yes. To be there in person with him and to see how they end up calling each other brother and sister.
I know. I mean, it's so sad to also see where they came from.
Yeah.
And like how they grew, like how their relationship grew and evolved, and the fact that you see, you know, when they first meet up and Maisley saves his life, and then, you know, they share all of their rations, and even Maisley's like, okay, we're splitting it 50-50. Like I mean, you know that she's very fiery up until this point. You start to get the sense that, like, she's loyal, she's protective, but you're not really sure exactly where her allegiances lie because she is still a little bit, you know, she's still a little bit rough around the edges. But the fact that she's like, no, we're sharing 50-50, like insists on, you know, saving his life, sharing her stuff, and then also, you know, brings up her poison darts, and he jokes that like, oh, just like use them on me, and she like asks him, okay, you think I couldn't do it? And he admits like, no, I don't think you can. And she is like very like appreciative of the fact that he sees her as like a human being. Yeah. Like, no, I don't think you're that cruel. And you can tell that it touches her, that like she has this very hard persona and she knows that she does, but the fact that he is able to tell like, no, but I know that you have a kindness to you. Like, I know that you're not a cruel person. And they also really bond over the acts of rebellion sort of thing. He really beats himself up later whenever she and the other girl kill the game makers. And
I think that really hits home, and he thinks back to that a lot, especially when she also criticizes him later about, why didn't you do something? The opportunity was right there.
And I loved that, though. I love that she didn't, and it was very to Maisley's character, obviously, to not let him like slide on that and say that you should have had my back.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting, because obviously because of that, that's why her and the other girl get killed. But again, it's the thing of, if all 4 of them did it,
Right, yeah, then
like,
what?
Yeah, because it was them 4, and then Welly, I think, was still in the game.
Welly would have been the victor.
I guess Welly would have been the victor, which, again, they were all okay with. They were like, Welly would be a good victor. Because she's just some girl, she just kind of barely survived.
Yes, yeah.
She didn't really kill anyone. She just made it, basically. I think that still would have worked, but, I think that there is something to the numbers, and how it's like, what, you're really going to kill all 4 of us?
Right, yeah.
So...
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I don't know if we've touched on this yet, the fact that all of Hamish's alliances died when he wasn't around.
Yes.
Because like we have Ampert, who kind of stayed outside the berm while Hamish was blowing up the water tank, which was the plan. I mean, that was the plan that was that they put in place. But still, the fact that it happened, when Hamish wasn't around to do anything about it, and he got there too late. The fact that Maisley died when she left the cliff.
Yeah, they literally just decided to end their alliance.
Yes.
And then the second she leaves, they kill her.
The second she leaves, they kill her. And then we have Welly at the very end. Who also died, when Hamish leaves her to see if he can go get some firewood and cook her breakfast and like help her out.
Yeah, he was like, I have to do this. She's gonna die.
Yes, get her to a point where she doesn't starve to death. But then, of course, Silka comes in.
Yes, which is like... This is insane to me, because, if she killed Welly, it's like, okay, expected your career. This is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Why do you have to behead her?
Yeah. It was pretty intense.
And not only that...
and then holding her head up.
It's like, what are you doing? Put her head down.
Pretty intense.
That is...
Well, for me, okay, I thought it was more intense because I wasn't sure with the language if she was like holding her head up, or if she just like happened to like behead her and was like holding her head.
Yeah, I can't remember now exactly how she killed her.
There was a point where she does like toss Welly's head aside to fight Hamish, and that was a little bit callous. I was like, okay, Silka.
It's like she is a 12-year-old girl.
She is just a child. But also, in Silka's defense, I know it's easy to think like, oh, she's kind of the enemy here. She's a career. She's been trained for this. She's like the one that everyone sees is going to be the victor. But, starting from the night before when she's crying at the base of the tree, and I think even Hamish says, even though she's a career, even though she is the most likely to be victor, and she's been brought up to fight in the Hunger Games, kind of raised this way, she's also still a victim like the rest of us. And like this has taken a toll on her, clearly.
Yes, it's the same idea of the whole class division thing.
Yes.
Like, at the end of the day, we are all victims in this situation. We are all still not capital people.
Right, exactly. And it was nice to like see that moment and have Hamish, drop the chocolates down to her. Maybe I'm giving her a little bit too much of the benefit of the doubt, but she does say, oh, Welly, like she attacked me, and then Hamish notices that there is a poison dart kind of like hanging on her like shirt. So like Welly obviously missed, but it's interesting to think like, did Silka approach Welly with aggression, or did she just come in and Welly, of course, doesn't know better, knows that she's a career, knows that she's the enemy, and did Welly attack her? So it is, again, maybe I'm giving her a little bit more of like...
Technically, we don't know what
because we don't know, and is it possible that Silka was not gonna kill her, and like maybe she did do it in self-defense? I mean, I don't know, because she is a career and she did behead her, so it is like a little intense.
And it is hard to say because her alliance member killed one of the game makers, but was she exactly of that same mindset?
Right.
I don't remember what district. I feel like it was District 4, the other girl.
I think it was District 4,
Which I do feel like District 4 is a little bit different from the other careers.
Yeah,
it's like,
agreed.
I don't think they really have the same mindset the way that 1 and 2 do.
I agree. But it is interesting to think, again, even though they are careers, what is their mindset? Like, do they think the same way? Could there have been a possible, like, let's all eat the poison berries situation with the 3 of them? Like, we don't know,
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to, like, see how that played out. But then, obviously, we get the moment with, like, Silka and Hamish. And
She was a little bit more pro-capital.
For sure.
In that interaction.
Yeah. It just feels like, it's interesting to think about. Like, maybe not with her, but maybe it could have been a possibility.
Yeah. And it's also, when they get to that cliff, I just remember when we watched this through Katniss's eyes.
Yeah.
There was a bit of an implication that Haymitch led her to this cliff.
There was that implication. I do remember that.
Meant to, like, use the cliff as a
Yeah.
tool. But from what I remember reading the actual events, I feel like Haymitch was just kind of running. That's where they ended up.
Yes.
And it just really worked out.
Well, and then I think he remembered once he was there.
Right.
Because he ducked.
And remembered whenever she
that it
threw
would come back.
Oh, that's going to come back.
Yeah, yes.
Like, I just need to wait. Also, he's in a lot worse shape than they showed.
Yes.
Which is kind of crazy. I'm like, how do you edit that out? Like, apparently his
he was talking about feeling his intestines.
I truly can't imagine how you come back from that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, right? How do you come back with that? I have a theory: milk and rolls.
I wasn't sure where you were going. Apparently,
it does wonders.
It does wonders. If you just eat enough carbs, it'll go away.
Then it'll be fine.
You don't have to tell me twice. I love a Hawaiian roll. That's what I'm imagining.
That's so funny.
What else is gonna go?
I'm imagining like a dinner roll, like a.
Really?
Well, but like one of those, like almost like a ciabatta.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
Like from a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
Like the free bread that they bring out at restaurants. Like that's kind of what I'm imagining.
I was thinking like a really dry roll, or I was worried that you were thinking of a really dry roll.
No.
It's like, I hope not.
I was thinking
in the capital. Surely they got something better than that.
Something moist.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, clearly the milk and bread works because Haymitch eventually recovers.
It fixed his intestines.
Exactly. His intestines are back inside of his body. And then everybody wants to see his scar, which I thought was strange, but I guess it's the capital.
I mean, he is just a plaything to them. They're like, yeah, sure, let me see your scar. So that tracks.
Which I guess is a whole other theme that we should probably touch on in the podcast, is his whole, like, Victor's victory tour that he does, his final interview and all of that.
Yeah, they put him in a birdcage for his party, which is so bizarre to me. I mean, it's clearly sends the message that Snow wants, that he is powerless, he's caged.
Yeah.
Also, I can't remember if it was during this or if it's more so, I think maybe it was when he does his interview. This is also when we see Wyrus and Mags.
Yeah.
And see the difference that's made. Mags is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And Wyrus is clearly, like, she's doing kind of her, like, ticky movement and is, like, paranoid.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad to see how much of a difference happens just from then. That was really upsetting.
Yeah.
So then we get into his interview with Caesar Flickerman. And obviously a lot of it is the stuff that we knew, but there were even some things that I don't know if we saw in Catching Fire that did surprise me. For instance, during Caesar's first interviews, like I said, we saw him kind of making fun of the careers, and in the retelling, they kind of switched it a little bit.
Yeah.
They were pumping up the careers more and playing down the newcomers. And I remember that being pretty significant. Was like, whoa. We were all for this alliance. What are we talking about?
It was really just interesting to see how everything was really rewritten, and even as Haymitch is watching it, he is fearful of the fact that he really just kind of looks like a jackass. They don't show any of his, like, acts of defiance, of course, which makes sense, but they also just portray him as kind of like, the rascal that he wanted to be portrayed as, but in a really, like, sucky way. Like,
yeah,
he really comes off as kind of a jerk, like an asshole,
Yeah, exactly. And then we get, at the end of it, Snow being like, enjoy your homecoming.
And then obviously we know.
And I immediately, it's like, I don't even know exactly what's about to happen, but I know I don't like it.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, that there's implicit, like, threat to Snow saying that to him. And then he comes home to the fire and doesn't even get to see them.
No.
Ma and Sid, like,
the timing is so orchestrated.
Yes.
Because he's in recovery for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Snow could have killed them at any point.
At any point. But he wanted Haymitch to see the fire, and he wanted Haymitch to feel helpless in that moment. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And even with Lenore Dove, right? Like, seeing the candies and like having Haymitch be like, oh, you should eat something, or because she like, I think she mentions like she hasn't
she
had
says something
anything
about
to eat.
Yeah.
And like she's like happy to have had these candies delivered to her and like thinks they're coming from him, right? And then he like gives her one.
Yeah.
And to have like Haymitch be the one, and that he's blaming himself for that, right? To have him be the one to give her the candy and then have it be a poisoned candy.
Yeah.
It adds to Haymitch's guilt that in the actual moments of her death, she was targeted not because she's Lenore Dove and that she's a Covey. I mean, surely there's like a little bit of that.
Doesn't help.
It doesn't help, but like it's primarily because of Haymitch.
Yes.
And that he
It's
has
because
like
he's
carried
getting
that.
punished.
Yes, exactly. He like carries that and continues to carry that like, weight and guilt. So many parallels, as we read the book between Haymitch and Katniss, like seeing how similar they are in so many ways. Mm-hmm. And like we kind of picked up on that a little bit in the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, how they have like a special kind of relationship. Like they do have a lot of similarities, but it's really interesting now that we know Haymitch's story and like being kind of the same age that Katniss is, when we read her story and her books in the original trilogy, to see really that those similarities have spanned from the very beginning.
Yeah, it really, honestly, there's so many things that I wonder what Haymitch was thinking as they popped up, especially whenever she gets to Catching Fire and is like, I want to align with Wyrus, Beatty, and Mag.
Yes.
Like, what was he thinking?
Yes, it's so interesting.
Like, how did you pick the exact people that I worked with in my games?
I feel like I have to go back now and like
I know
kind of now like read her story and see if there are any like hints or clues to how Haymitch might have been feeling in those moments.
Same. And this is also another interesting thing about Suzanne's writing. The way that she did it, it makes you wonder how much she might have known about this or like had an idea of Haymitch's backstory.
Oh, sure.
As she was writing the original series. Because part of me is like, she couldn't have known. But I don't know, there are just certain things that it's like, it's
interesting, yeah, if like she had been planning to do this the whole time, like maybe she did know. Or like maybe left it open to herself to do it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately decided to do it.
Yeah, because especially the thing that really gets me is at the end of the original trilogy, they drop the note about how Haymitch raises geese. And it's just so random. And it's not even just the fact that she connects it back to Lenore Dove, but it's also the deeper connection that Covey women love birds. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, when did she decide that? Like, was that just a really good coincidence that worked out?
Yeah.
Or did she plan that all the way back in Songbirds and Snakes?
Yeah, it is interesting to like think about.
I haven't seen too many, I don't know, people at least don't talk about interviews with her. I would love to see if she has talked anything about
maybe we could get her on the pod.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Harley, don't laugh at that. We could get her on the pod.
What am I going to say?
We comment down below if you think we could get her on the pod.
If you think we can get the most
Suzanne
popular author
Collins
of all time of our generation,
we could
Suzanne
get her on
Collins.
the pod.
Please.
Suzanne, if you're listening.
Help a girl out.
Miss Collins.
Miss Collins. We love your books.
We would love to have you on the pod.
Yeah. We want to put you in a little sandwich between these two.
Just right here.
Yeah. I do want to talk a little bit more about the epilogue, though.
100%.
Because I did not expect it to be a jump forward in time. And it really, oh my God.
I kind of did. I kind of had an inkling that it would be a nice way to kind of like wrap it up, especially because we're a lot more attached to the original trilogy, or maybe it's just me, but I feel like the fandom as a whole is a lot more attached to the original trilogy because that's kind of what got us into this universe.
Yeah.
And because Haymitch and Katniss have so many connections that I kind of figured there might be like a Katniss mention.
Yeah.
Or like, very brief. And the epilogue was very short anyway. So I kind of figured it would be something like that.
It was just so perfect. And honestly, I went back to look and I couldn't believe that it was just like 2 pages.
Yeah, it's very
short. That he
short.
says so much about, the first time that he saw Katniss.
I know.
And that how it reminded him of Luella. And the fact that he was best friends with Burdock. And this was his daughter. And now he was becoming the father figure to her.
That he says something about like geese mating for life. And like, I guess you and I do too, Lenore Dove.
Yeah, the fact that he always sees her there and he hasn't forgotten her for one moment.
Yeah.
It is just...
It's so heartwarming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always WID. Like, why can't men be like,
Yes!
beast mate for life, so do you and I, you know? Like,
Really?
take a page out of Hamige's book.
This is no longer a hear me out. I tell you
This is
what.
a smash.
This is a smash. Hard smash.
hard smash. Like smash.
Like, smash that man!
And a moment for the wig.
And once again, can't wait to see what they do with the young Hamish and his hair. What are you gonna do to that boy? But this also makes me really excited for the movie also,
Yes.
because it's like, you have to do that blog. Yes. Everyone's obsessed with this epilogue.
Yeah.
So that'll be really exciting.
We must.
To see, because I know, I almost called him PETA. I don't remember what his real name is. PETA has said that he said that he would love to come back.
Yeah.
So I know he's down. I think that'll be really cool. I can't wait to see how they do it. I think it's going to be beautiful. This is also where the fan edits come in, where they're the Hamilton, like, who lives, who dies, who tells our stories in this moment. And it's like, I'm going to cry so much. Suzanne Collins, please let the movie put Hamilton songs. At this point, I'm associating Hamilton so hard with this book. I want to see it. It will kill me.
It'll be great. I'm excited.
I want to be killed this way. This is how I want to die.
I'm excited to see it. And we've still got some time, but I'm excited to see, you know, what they do with it.
Yeah.
Because we loved this book so much, and like clearly the fandom holds it pretty highly.
Yeah. I have so many questions about if we will get
Yeah.
other books. Part of me can't imagine how she tops this. Not that she necessarily needs to.
Yeah.
But I think she just did such a good job with this.
Great.
Like, if she left on this note, I understand, and I think that's fine. And honestly, I don't know why I would want more. She's just gonna emotionally devastate me again. So why do that to myself? 10 out of 10. I again, everyone I talk to, I'm like, so have you read this book yet? Guys, come on. Michael from Japan, please read this book. We've been talking about it for months now.
Michael.
Michael.
But I will say, after so much devastation and turmoil, I am definitely ready to move on to something a little bit lighter, maybe.
Wow, luckily for all of us, we are actually heading into a summer of love.
Ooh, love.
Yeah. Get ready, everyone. We are changing tones big time, because for the next 3 book club episodes, so therefore the next 3 months-ish, we will be exclusively reading romances.
How exciting.
And we are going to be starting with the queen of romances, Emily Henry, and her newest book, Great Big Beautiful Life.
We don't have a physical copy, but here it is.
Yes. We've yet to get the book ourselves.
I don't even know if you can see.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the light. You guys probably know what it looks like.
You understand.
It's orange, it's yellow, it's red.
There are people on it.
There are 2 people on it.
It's in the Emily Henry font.
And it says Great Big Beautiful Life in big color.
Yes. And it's a new release, at least new-ish.
Yes, it came out not too long ago. And in case you don't know what it's about, I actually don't know what it's about. I've never read an Emily Henry book, so this is going to be my first one. So this is what Great Big Beautiful Life is about. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize winning human thundercloud. And they're both on balmy Little Crescent Island for the same reason, to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives. Tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. When Margaret invites them both for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who will tell her story, there are 3 things keeping Alice's head in the game. 1. Alice genuinely likes people, which means people usually like Alice, and she has a whole month to win the legendary woman over. 2. She's ready for this job and the chance to impress her perennially and unimpressed family with a serious publication. 3. Hayden Anderson, who should have no reason to be concerned about losing this book, is glowering at her in a shaken to the core way that suggests he sees her as competition. But the problem is, Margaret is only giving each of them pieces of her story. Pieces they can't swap to put together because of an ironclad NDA and an inconvenient yearning pulsing between them every time they're in the same room. And it's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale Margaret's spinning, could be a mystery, tragedy, or love ballad, depending on who's telling it.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I'm excited to dive into this. And of course, very excited to dive into the summer of love.
Yes, excited. We have a great lineup. If you guys want to see what else we got coming up, we will be posting it on our Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Or we already have. I can't remember.
Yes.
Well, we would have by this time.
The Summer of Love officially starts on Tuesday, July 1st, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. But of course, as always, we'll have an off-the-shelf episode coming out a little bit before then on Tuesday, June 17th, so also keep that on your radar. Thanks so much for listening to the latest episode of our soon-to-be hit podcast, Read Receipts with Carly and Sam. All of the content that you hear in this episode is curated, recorded, and edited by us truly, with special thanks to the authors of the books that we cover, Mags and Hey Mitch for being a part of this episode specifically, and Pixabay for the music that we play. Make sure to subscribe to the pod wherever you like to listen, and for more of our content in between shows, you can follow us at the Read Receipts Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We love to see new followers on our social media accounts. We love it when you like our posts, and we love it when you comment on the posts that you see. So please, please, please also make sure to keep interacting with us online. Until our next book, bye!